What's going on, boys and girls? Welcome back to Feeki Flips, the most dumbed down real estate channel on all of YouTube, because if I can make money doing this, then so can you. We are here today. Flip this around. We're at this little greenhouse right here. I actually just drove past the house and had to back up because I haven't been here in so long. I didn't even know they fucking painted it. I thought it was still white, but totally remodeled house now. Kind of a long road to get here. We bought this thing about 11 months ago, if I remember right. I haven't been here in months. This is one that we got caught holding as the market shifted over the summer. So we've had a few different strategies here, but we are finally about to sell this thing. It is due to close tomorrow. And towards the end of the episode, obviously we'll go do a walkthrough and I'll be looking at it for the first time with you guys. But towards the end of the video, I'll go over how we sold this house, and it is a way that we have never done before. Although a lot of people have tried to do this strategy, and it has never once worked out until this one. So let's go check out the inside of the house, and then I'll give you guys the rundown on this deal, all the numbers, and then all the fuckery that has happened in the last 11 months. Now, I can't remember if the house has been on the channel before because it's been so long, but I know definitely I posted a video about the tenant situation. When we bought this one, it was tenant occupied, longtime tenants. And I know I posted the call for like getting the tenants out of here, but I'm not sure. Oh, I guess they ripped down the garage. Well, I know it was a teardown, but I wasn't expecting that. But I know I posted the call about like the tough call that you have to make sometimes when you got to kick someone out when you buy a tenant occupied property to flip. I know I posted a video for that, but I can't remember if I ever posted the interior of this home. I know we shot it, but then shit happened and a lot of footage never got posted. But either way, let's go check out the inside. All right, so here is the inside of the house. So this house is like 1904, 1907, something like that. Little 1,000 square foot, 2-bed, 1-bath. Looks a lot better than when we bought it. So originally there was a wall somewhere like right here, and there was a little small opening to the kitchen that was basically just here. And then if you can imagine, on the other side of the wall, they had like the fridge and like a range over here. And then it was just cabinets right here. The major issue that we had with this house at first was there was some slopage right in here. We had to add like joists underneath here to prop it back up. The actual foundation was fine, the rubble foundation on the outside of the house, but this had sloped in here. So this was one of those houses that just like became Pandora's box, and that happens a lot with these older homes. Like when I walked this thing, I didn't think it was that bad. It was like, I was like, oh, $25K for rehabs, basically like paint and flooring, and like we'll throw it back on market, we'll be fine. And that may have worked if the market didn't shift, but what ended up happening is that we got the tenants out, we gave them the cash for keys deal that I posted in that other video, and then we didn't really have a solid plan in place. Then the market shifted, and we were gonna try to like as is it. What I mean by as is basically just like sell the house in as is condition. Now the problem with that was that floor that I just talked about over in the kitchen. It was just like we kept doing like one more thing, one more thing, one more thing. So what we did first was a full sewer line replacement in the back. So we took care of that. It was like a big ass job because it goes all the way to the alley in the back over there. We took care of that, and then it was like, oh well, let's paint the interior, so just kind of clean it up and make it look better for when we go as is. So we did that, and then we wanted to rip out the carpet. This was all carpet in here when we bought it, and there was original hardwood runs under here. So it's like, yeah, if we pull out the carpet, show that it has hardwood, paint the inside, take care of the sewer line, that would be like a perfect as is play. Only cost us about 15 grand between that very expensive sewer line and then the other just interior cleanup. And then we thought that we could make pretty good money by doing that. Now the issue was because of the floor, that wasn't a good play because of the slopage. So then we ended up pulling up the floor, we ended up pulling up the subfloor. The idea to just pull up the carpet didn't really work because the hardwood underneath was so damaged that it didn't really look good. So then it was like, you can see how when you start doing this with older homes, it's just like, well, let's just do one more thing. Well, okay, because of that thing, now we have to do something else. So we ended up still trying to as is it, but with no fucking kitchen floor in here at all. Like literally there was the wall, and you would walk in and you could just see the dirt down here because we had this all ripped out. And we still tried to as is it like that, but unfortunately by that time the market had turned and it wasn't a great deal for anyone. And we almost, this is a very fitting spot for this story, we almost did as is it. We had it on MLS, we had a buyer, they were in contract.
And the neighbor right here fucked up the deal.
Because there's like these little concrete things right here where he pulls his car up, and actually that is on our property right here. And the buyers had a huge issue with this. This guy's been parking his car here for 10 years. He obviously did not want to stop parking his car here. And it looks like he used to have a bunch of shit parked parked right here too, but it looks like he got rid of that. So we had this dispute with the neighbor, and we actually got him to agree to, like, Wes worked out some sort of deal with them where he was gonna like sign a 3-year lease to fucking put his car here, and then he was gonna move it after that, but they didn't want to do it. So we pulled it off market, and then at that point it was like, okay, well, we kind of just need to rehab this thing and then sell it and see what happens. So obviously we did all new bathroom in here completely. So this was all ripped out, and then here is the other bedroom over here. So this was a long project in the making here, but it does look really, really nice. This, like I said, this is my first time over here as well. We have our little laundry room here, the water heater, and a little basement storage underneath there that's not very big, but washer dryer area right here. So out here, let's see, there used to be right there, you can see there was a garage that was like that one, but it was actually like a tear down. It was horrible looking. So again, we were just gonna leave that, and I guess they ripped that out of there. So now we have a clear backyard, and there was a bunch of like weird fencing, and actually this was all full of personal property when we bought it, so we had to trash it out. And the sewer line ran down here all the way to the street. That's why it's kind of dug up right there. So this house is in really nice shape now. Looked like they did not do the roof, but I know the roof was only like 8 years old or something when we bought it, so it probably wasn't necessary. And then looks like we left this furnace as well that works fine. No need to replace it. Seller had already done the windows a few years ago, but everything else you see in here, obviously we did. Now that I remember, actually what we did to remedy the situation for good with the neighbor is we recorded an easement with the county. So over there is all legit. There's just like an easement on this property now that he can park his car there. So shouldn't be an issue with anyone, and it's not with the buyer we're currently in contract with, but it just, for whatever reason, those specific buyers really had an issue with that. And I think they just kind of got off to the wrong foot with, you know, their neighbor. Even though they were going to hold it as a rental, they just didn't want to have a property next to this guy that was gonna like fight them on stuff. So they bailed, but the new buyer's cool with it, and it's all legit recorded with the county, so he can park his car there or whatnot. So numbers on this deal, we purchased this, if I can remember, I think for $220,000 back in March of 2022. Tenant occupied. Tenants had been here for like 20 or 30 years, like super long-term tenants. And then, yeah, we tried to do that as is play, and we just kept spending more. And then we ended up doing the full rehab here. So I think we spent about $80,000 when it was all said and done, between the whole interior, the bathroom, the kitchen, taking out the wall, getting rid of that original garage, the sewer line, all that stuff. So a ton of work went into this place. We are in contract to sell this at $325,000. So when it's all said and done, this is about a break-even deal for us, better than the $110,000 loss we took on the multifamily. If you guys listen to the podcast, I talked about that quite a bit. So yeah, this is about a break-even deal. Real quick for you guys that want to know how we fund stuff like this, we used private money on this deal, just one individual. He funded the entire purchase for us. So all $220,000 came from him. I think we're paying like 12% on the money or so. So we just give him a payment every single month on that, interest only. So we still owe him $220,000. So when we sell this thing tomorrow, he's going to get his $220,000 back. He's been making those payments over time. And then even though we're not making any money on this deal, the profit, we actually cash flowed the rehab here. So all of that $80,000 that we put in, we will be getting back at the time of sale. So it sucks that we're not actually making any money on it, but as far as our cash position right now, when we sell it, it will increase since we're getting all that rehab money back. Now, the interesting thing about selling this deal, like I said at the beginning of the video, something that has never happened before, we actually deal with this a lot, but not on the sales side, but on the buy side. When we go direct to seller and buy houses like this from them, something that people tell us all the fucking time is that,
oh, my neighbor's gonna buy the house from us. My daughter wants to buy the house.
Fucking Joe Bob, whoever is gonna buy the house. And never once, been doing this for 5 years, never once has that happened. We get that several times a month, and never once has anyone's friend, family member, associate, whatever, bought the house from them. So we're constantly hearing that on the phone, and we have to handle that as an objection because, you know, we're gonna come out and make an offer, and then they're like,
oh, okay, well, you know, so-and-so said they wanna buy it.
and we're like, look, we hear that all the time. Never has once happened. Like, here's what you can do. Like, make them go get a pre-approval letter. Like, make them show proof of funds if they say they're gonna pay cash for it. It just never works out. People just say shit and they never do it for whatever reason. But actually, funny enough, we got a call from some random dude, and apparently this dude was literally just like walking down the street or some shit, and he has a rental in this area, and he just like came in the door right here while the guys were working just a couple weeks ago. It was almost wrapped up, and he wanted to buy the house. So they gave him Wes's number. I think Wes was out of town, so he gave me the guy's number. I was like,
Call this dude, he wants to buy this property over here.
I was like, okay, that's not gonna go anywhere because the people that just say they wanna buy it never do. But interestingly enough, he really liked it. We sent him the whole list of improvements, everything that we've done to the property. He had already seen it. We let him go walk it again with his wife, because that was, they had come a week ago or whatnot, and then it was totally done by the time this conversation happened. And then he was all pumped up about it. He's like,
Yep, give me the address to your office. We're gonna come drop off our offer.
so they actually like produced an offer. We're like, what the fuck? And then we talked to him about price, and like with this house, the comps right now support about $350,000. So we figured, just going off market, no realtors involved or anything like that, $325 is the same thing to us. And that basically just happened to be what he was approved for this, rental property or whatnot. So it worked out good for him. That was like his max for the budget. It was what we were expecting to get when we took it to market, but we didn't have to wait, which was awesome. So he was good with $325. Lender was good with $325. All we had to do was normal inspections, appraisal, all that stuff. All came back clean, as they usually do when we do a full rehab like this. And then appraisal came in at value. So he knew that he was getting at least, a decent deal, if not a good deal. When they say at value, it could have come in higher. We just don't know that. He would know that, whatever they put on the appraisal. But either way, that means that the lender's going to fund the deal. So it was all good. I can't believe that like this dude just came in off the street and was like,
I'll buy it.
and he actually did, because of all those experiences we've had with very similar situations, and not once has anyone ever performed on that. All right, that about wraps it up for this episode. I am happy to say that this is actually the last flip that we were holding when everything turned, when we decided to stop buying and just go 100% wholesale in the near term. So as of tomorrow, we will have sold all the flips that we had, all of the current projects that we had, plus the multifamily unit that we ended up needing to sell. So this is good news. Now we've just been wholesaling. We're starting to wholesale in another state right now. We opened up in Florida. So actually tomorrow is going to be the first day of us actually marketing in the new state. I'm so excited to see how that works out, and excited to be out of short-term debt for at least until we start buying again, when the market's a little bit more stable and a little bit more predictable where values are going to be when we can start flipping again. So thanks for watching. If you're new here, make sure to subscribe, smash that like button, help us out with the YouTube algorithm. Go subscribe to the podcast that I've been dropping every week. You guys can see it here on YouTube, or easier to listen to on the podcast apps or Spotify or whatnot. So we will see you on the next episode.